Willkommen zurück bei den Mobility Talks von Webfleet und Bridgestone hier in Halle 12. Schön, dass Sie jetzt auch dabei sind, denn jetzt geht es um IoT, das Internet der Dinge, um künstliche Intelligenz, um intelligente Reifen. Advanced Tyre Solutions ist unser Thema und dazu habe ich zwei Gäste bei mir. Einmal Lorenzo Alleva, Director Digital Lab und Purves, Director Tyre Solutions Technology. Das heißt, wir sind hier wirklich tief bei den IT-Spezialisten unterwegs und ich werde jetzt mal versuchen herauszufinden, was es damit auf sich hat. A warm welcome to both of you. I just introduced you. Lorenzo, Neil, great to have you here on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you very
much.
much.
To be here.
You're the Director Digital Lab. When I look at the Tyre, I don't see any interfaces. I don't see any plugs that go into. How does a digital lab for tires work? What can I imagine from that?
What we do in the lab. So actually we started like a startup inside the technology center of Bridgestone. And we built up our capability of electronics, mechatronics, and data science. So we are addressing the IoT layer, so how to translate the tire into a sensing part, and also the algorithm layer in the data analytics space. So we take those data and eventually with our tire knowledge, we try to turns out into insight that can drive business let's say actions. So that's what we did, and we work together with our Tyre R&D colleagues as well as our colleagues in Amsterdam and in Brussels.
So a little bit of research, a little bit of finding out what the right thing will be. How does that relate to the final product then?
So whereas in Rome they're making a fantastic job bringing from the tire information out, so we really get a lot of data points. For a customer, we don't just want to supply them data. So we're turning all of that data into really actionable insights, actionable items that we can have a return on investment for the customer with. And that's a step beyond what they're making in Rome. And we're doing that together with people like our Webfleet customer, but also for others like OEMs.
All right, so when we look back, and if I remember correctly, well, the last IAA is 4 years back, right? But there was something called the smart corner. So is that kind of an evolution of it, or how can we see that?
Actually, at that time we brought here a kind of tire with all technologies, a vision with all technology that can eventually help us and with the current and future mobility solution. But now what we have is we have developed actually a technology, tire mounted sensor, so that help us to eventually do the things that 4 years ago we show as possible, right? And that those are real today.
So 4 years ago it was like a sneak preview to the future.
Yes.
Today is the future, and we can say, yes, we've done it. What we showed back then, we can now use?
So I would say that 4 years ago, what we had was really a vision of if the technology could do whatever we wanted it to do, this would be what the output would look like. So with TMS, we've got a product. So really we've got to the point, and you'll see here on the stand that we have actually a sample of the product that we will be bringing to market. So we're not quite there yet. So it's a technology that we have really in test. So we have millions of kilometers on that sensor now, and we're really seeing that the output is fantastic. So the Rome team have done a fantastic job to get it this far. So now it's more or less up to myself to bring that into a product. So the team that we have, we're working to bring that as quickly as we can into market, and we hope to have that in the coming months available in different forms available, hopefully not just in replacement market, but also through OEMs.
So to make it a little bit more precise, when can we expect that it hits the market?
I can't give you a precise date, but
Very near future.
Very near future, yes, exactly.
All right. When we talk about the sensor, and I mean, from a Webfleet side, I know that the TPMS sensor is there, and we get the tire pressure data out of it, and we can present them. With the new sensor, what is new? What can we talk about?
Actually, this new sensor delivers more beyond the classical pressure and temperature. So if we think that we pair this sensor with the Tyre ID that we get from RFID, is a technology that we have already in our tire since many years now. And then we are able to detect the load on each single tire, and then load on each axle, and finally the truck load. We can measure the mileage on each single tire. You can imagine how it's complex to measure mileage on lift axis. And then we add the wear. So this sensor is capable to do two things: predict the tire life, so which is my remaining, let's say, mileage, and also the tire health, which is the status of my casing. Can I be retread 1, 2, 3 more times? All these things eventually make the tire a bit more intelligent. So that's what we call connected tire.
See, I'm not a technical expert, and I'm maybe pretty naive. In my head, I can imagine how to measure tire pressure. All right, I can imagine how to measure the temperature. But how do you measure the wear? How does that work? I mean, there's not
there
some
is not,
gauge
yes,
or something,
exactly.
right?
That's the point. I mean, where we pair the physical asset, the tire, with this digital twin in the cloud. So we use this sensor to harvest the relevant data that that is needed in order to evolve this model, the wear model that we have in the cloud. And so this digital twin actually evolves with the data of the physical asset, and we can ask to this model, I mean, every time, which is the wear rate, which is the actual wear, and so when we plan to replace the tire, when we have to replace the tire. So this is actually where we connect the IoT part with the data analytics part, and then we manage to get the best out of it.
So I see the tire is really getting smart. How smart will it get?
Well, there are definitely other things that we want the tire to be able to do. So in our concept tire that we showed 4 years ago, we would like to do more, and there are things that we would say if the technology catches up, then of course we would like to be able to do things in real time, do things like note irregular wear. So today we're talking about just wear, but being able to see irregular wear, so multiple points across the tire where we can read that wear, those sort of things would be really great. But right now, we're still stuck with a battery, and that's one of the things that if in the future we can get beyond that, we will definitely be able to do more. And certainly the digital lab are already pushing the boundaries of what can be done next. So there are some really great things going on in Rome, and I'm having high expectations of what product they'll be able to bring to me and say, can we now get this into the market in the coming years?
That sounds really, really exciting. And we showed 4 years ago. Now we've got a product, so we delivered. You've got a lot of ideas in your mind what will come, so we're going to make it happen that comes to market as well. Thank you, Lorenzo, for being here. Thank you, Neil. Really was a pleasure.